Martin with 7 on the shot clock. Thomas back to Martin for the win! Nice. Space money, Martin!
So Unrivaled has begun, and overall, you'd have to say it was a successful start. Fans seem engaged on social media, and the legacy media is singing its praises. But something's definitely off. To start, it's got that 2020 bubble feel with the big screens and virtually no fans. Which brings me back to a bad place. I mean, the 800-person crowds are trying to bring energy, but they'll never compete with the juice flowing through those displays. But beyond lack of fans, there's one missing element that could be make or break for the league: Caitlin Clark. Now, while there's been a lot of hype and social media buildup around Unrivaled, it's got the backers, sponsors, a TV deal, and it's putting players first with higher pay and equity. Caitlin's absence is the elephant in the room. The big question is, can Unrivaled survive without Caitlin? We've got to talk about it because Unrivaled is the big litmus test of the Caitlin Clark effect. You've got the Caitlin Clark haters who will of course say, no Caitlin, no problem. But then you've got people who look at data, like are Caitlin Clark fans watching Unrivaled or replays of her watching the Chiefs game with Taylor Swift. Let's dig into the facts, make some people really upset, and predict the future of Unrivaled. The data will shock you, it cannot be argued, don't even try. I mean, you can try in the comments because, hey, engagement is engagement. But the stuff I'm going to share could mean the end of the debate about Caitlin Clark's impact, or at least put some haters on mute. But first, take a moment and subscribe so my channel has more subscribers than Unrivaled games have attendance. So yeah, despite my 2020 PTSD, Unrivaled looks sharp. I will give them that. Again, is the arena buzzing? I mean, with only 800 people there, the buzz you hear is probably the lights. I think that's a miss.
How much they enjoy playing for her.
Lisa Leslie, a basketball Hall of Fame inductee in 2015.
This was something she was really working on during this league. She said it's been a little easier because of the smaller group.
It kind of reinforces the narrative that I'm about to get into about life without Caitlin. But, you know, it's 3-on-3. It's something different. It's the off season. And it's a feel-good story because it's created by players for players. It's got many of the league's top players like Jewel Lloyd, Brianna Stewart, and Skylar Diggins-Smith, alongside rising stars like Aaliyah Boston and Angel Reese. Angel's layup game is in mid-season form, I see. Anyway, so far it's been fast-paced, high intensity. Smaller teams mean more space on the court. The target score to end the game, that's fun. It's unconventional and it's getting attention. First, I'm not going to drag this part out. This is not a WNBA killer. Sure, the higher pay and better facilities will probably lead to some changes in the W. Always good to be on your toes, being pushed a bit. But just like winning the NBA Cup with its funky floors is not the same as hoisting the Larry O'Brien Trophy, winning Unrivaled won't have the allure of winning a WNBA championship. Fans are purists at heart. Unrivaled is an off-season sideshow that, if successful, could keep players stateside and grow the women's game. League President Alex Bazell is excited about the potential. I mean, it'd be bad PR if he weren't. Anyway, he's been hyping up the social media traction leading up to the opener, and it's clear that Unrivaled has put some serious effort into their marketing push. Bazell's a realist. He's not expecting WNBA-level viewership numbers right out of the gate, but he's confident in the product they're putting out there. But here's the thing. For all the star power Unrivaled has managed to assemble, there's one name that's absent, Caitlin Clark, and her absence looms large over the league's potential. Clark isn't just another player. She's a phenomenon, a once-in-a-generation talent who has the ability to transcend the sport and capture the attention of casual fans and diehards alike. The absence of Clark is like throwing a party with all your coolest friends, only to have the guest of honor bail at the last minute. Sure, it might still be a great party, but there's always going to be that lingering what if in the back of everyone's minds. And it's not just the fans who are feeling it. The league itself must be acutely aware of the Clark-shaped hole in their lineup. After all, they reportedly offered her big money to participate, only to be turned down. Clark's decision to rest after her long 2024 season is understandable, but it doesn't change the fact that her absence is felt. As Unrivaled takes its first steps, it faces the challenge of proving its worth without the biggest name in women's basketball. So what did Caitlin turn down? A cool $1 million. But Clark, ever focused on her long-term goals, had other plans. It was a tough decision, but I knew I needed to prioritize my health and future, Clark stated in an interview. Her choice to decline such a lucrative offer speaks volumes about her commitment to sustainable success in the sport. Clark's 2024 schedule was already a basketball marathon, stretching from November 2023 to September 2024. College playoffs flowed directly into her pro debut with the Indiana Fever, a grueling timeline for any athlete, let alone a rookie transitioning to the heightened demands of professional play. The jump from college to pro basketball isn't just about stepping onto a bigger stage. It's a whole new world of physical and mental challenges. The game moves faster, players hit harder, and the pressure intensifies tenfold. For a rookie like Clark, fresh off an intense NCAA season, adding Unrivaled to the mix didn't make sense. By choosing rest over immediate financial gain, Clark is making a strategic move that could pay dividends in the long run. It's like choosing to change your car's oil regularly instead of driving it into the ground. A little maintenance now can prevent a major breakdown later. Experts in sports medicine have been emphasizing this for years. Rest isn't just important, it's crucial for long-term success. But for Unrivaled, a new league that needs both a fast start and sustainability to grow, Clark's absence is undoubtedly a blow. I'm about to get into the data proving it because no matter what the haters say, it's incontrovertible. And it's especially relevant given what Unrivaled has stepped into. Unrivaled is competing in sports arena packed with titans, facing a challenge akin to climbing Mount Everest in flip-flops. The fledgling league isn't just taking on basketball, it's squaring off against the juggernauts of American sports during their peak seasons.
2-second differential, game clock and shot clock as Thomas calls for the McBride screen. Alyssa Thomas to the right.
Picture this. Unrivaled's debut coincides with the most electrifying period in the sports calendar. The NFL playoffs are in full swing, the NBA season is heating up, and March Madness looms on the horizon. It's like trying to launch a new social media platform while Facebook, Instagram, and X are all releasing groundbreaking features. The stakes are sky high. Unrivaled's opening weekend clashed with the NFL's divisional playoff round, games that regularly draw over 30 million viewers each. Add to that the college football playoff national championship, and you've got a sports viewer's paradise and a newcomer's nightmare. Let's crunch some numbers. NFL playoff games routinely pull in 30 to 40 million viewers. March Madness? It's not just a tournament. It's a cultural phenomenon that saw 10.7 million viewers per game in 2023.
And that will do it. FDU believe it for just the second time ever.
The NBA, with its roster of global superstars, consistently averages millions of viewers per regular season game. Unrivaled finds itself in a David versus Goliath scenario, fighting for attention in a landscape saturated with established leagues and superstar talent. Star power is the X factor in women's sports leagues. The WNBA has been battling for years to carve out its niche, and even with incredible talent, consistent viewership remains a challenge. In 2024, the league hit a 24-year high in viewership, largely thanks to one player, Caitlin Clark. Her presence alone drew millions of viewers, highlighting the impact a single star can have. This brings us to Unrivaled's million-dollar question. How do they plan to stand out without their potential marquee player? Alex Bazell, the league's president, is taking a pragmatic approach, focusing on building momentum and improving week to week. It's a smart move, setting realistic expectations while leaving room for growth. In today's sports landscape, star power can make or break a league. Unrivaled now faces the monumental task of proving they can shine without their brightest star, all while competing in a field of giants. And while it's well marketed and looks great, we've seen how this story can play out. The graveyard of failed sports ventures holds valuable lessons Unrivaled can't afford to ignore. Let's examine some of the most notable flops. The original XFL burst onto the scene in the early 2000s with all the subtlety of a WWE entrance. Despite drawing 14 million viewers for its first game, the league's numbers plummeted faster than a botched punt. The Alliance of American Football in 2019 folded after just 8 weeks, despite decent talent and a solid TV deal. The Women's United Soccer Association failed to build a sustainable model despite riding high on the U.S. women's national team's 1999 World Cup victory. These leagues share common threads that led to their downfall. First, weak fan connection. The XFL's ratings nosedive and the AAF's struggle to build a loyal following show that giving fans a reason to care is crucial. Second, subpar product quality. The XFL learned that all the marketing in the world can't make up for games that aren't worth watching. Finally, fierce competition. The ABL's failure against the WNBA demonstrates the challenge of competing with better funded, better promoted leagues. So, how does Unrivaled stack up against these cautionary tales? On paper, they've got some things going for them. A unique 3-on-3 format, serious talent on the roster, and backers with deep pockets. But they're facing some familiar challenges. Unrivaled is launching in a crowded sports landscape, competing for attention with the NBA and NFL playoffs. That's like trying to be heard at a rock concert. You need one heck of a voice. While they've got great players, they're missing that transcendent star who can pull in casual fans. Sorry, Caitlin Clark haters, but this is where the data comes into play. Caitlin Clark wasn't just a rookie sensation. She's a basketball phenomenon rivaling the impact of LeBron James in his early NBA days. Her influence on the WNBA has been nothing short of revolutionary, transforming the league in ways few could have imagined. Let's break down Clark's impact with some jaw-dropping numbers. She set the WNBA single-season rookie record for assists. She holds the record for most assists by a rookie in WNBA All-Star Game history, 10. She achieved the fastest record for reaching 350 points and 150 assists, regardless of years in the league. But Clark's influence extends far beyond the court.
Gave it to Cowan, who couldn't finish. Behind the back again for Clark, give her another assist.
The 2024 WNBA Draft, where she was selected first overall by the Indiana Fever, averaged 2.45 million viewers, the highest in WNBA draft history. To put this into perspective, that's more viewers than some NBA playoff games attract. Clark's debut game on May 14, 2024, against the Connecticut Sun.
There are the first points in the WNBA career of Caitlin Clark.
Was a ratings bonanza, drawing 2.12 million viewers. This wasn't just the most watched WNBA game since 2002. It rivaled the viewership of many primetime NBA regular season games. During the 2024 season, 23 WNBA games drew over 1 million viewers. Clark featured in 20 of those games, proving she's not just a player, she's a viewership magnet. These numbers are comparable to some MLB and NHL playoff games, showcasing the growing appeal of women's basketball. Clark's impact on merchandise sales is equally impressive. Her jersey became the top seller in the entire WNBA, with the Indiana Fever reporting a 1,193% increase in jersey sales year over year. This surge in popularity rivals the merchandise boom seen during breakout seasons of NBA superstars. Attendance figures tell a similar story. The Fever averaged over 17,000 fans per game, a historic increase that surpasses the average attendance of several NBA teams. Clark's ability to fill seats is reminiscent of the impact of NBA legends in their prime. The roots of Clark's stardom can be traced back to her college career. In the 2023 NCAA tournament, her games set multiple viewership records. The championship game drew 18.9 million viewers, making it the most watched women's basketball game in history. This viewership rivals that of many men's March Madness games and even some NBA Finals games. Clark's impact on women's basketball is undeniable. She's bringing in new fans, driving engagement, and proving that women's basketball can be a major draw. In her rookie season alone, Clark has elevated the profile of the WNBA to heights previously thought unattainable, cementing her status as a transformative figure in sports history. Caitlin Clark's meteoric rise in women's basketball has ignited a firestorm of controversy. While fans and supporters cheer her on, a vocal minority is determined to rain on her parade. Geez, it's as if they're arguing the sun isn't bright while squinting through sunglasses. So why are some folks so bent on poking holes in the Caitlin Clark phenomenon? The criticism comes from different angles, each more perplexing than the last. Some claim it's all clever marketing, as if Clark hired PR wizards to conjure up those record-breaking viewership numbers. Others argue her exciting play doesn't contribute to team success or grow the sport. Apparently, inspiring millions of new fans doesn't count as growth these days. Then, there's the bizarre argument that Clark's success overshadows other talented players. Blaming her for being too good seems like a strange way to advocate for balanced coverage. It's not like she's purposely hogging the spotlight, she's just dominating the game. What's really driving this backlash? Could it be plain old jealousy? Clark's extraordinary success is bound to ruffle some feathers. Or maybe it's resistance to change. She represents a new era where individual players become cultural icons, and that shift might be uncomfortable for some. But while critics debate, Clark's impact is undeniable. Her games consistently break viewership and attendance records. Merchandise sales have skyrocketed, and social media engagement is through the roof. She's bringing new fans to the sport and proving women's basketball can be a major draw.
Why is it there's so much support for Caitlin Clark?
Because she's the best.
In fact, Clark's presence has been linked to a substantial increase in overall interest in women's basketball. She's not just a great player, she's a transformative figure, changing the game's landscape in real time. Don't believe me, just look at what happens when she's not playing. If I haven't lost the Caitlin Clark haters yet, I'm about to. Tap like if you're still here. Okay, let's break it down and crush some hater souls, shall we? After Clark hung up her Hawkeyes jersey, Iowa's viewership took a dramatic hit. Their game against Virginia Tech drew only 209,000 viewers, less than half the 583,000 who tuned in for their season opener the previous year.
Nothing lights up the building more than this right here. To the left. To the
Ouch. The contrast is stark and illuminating. In the WNBA, Clark's impact was equally profound. Her final playoff game attracted a cool 2.5 million viewers, while the first game of the WNBA Finals without her managed just 1.1 million. This significant drop highlights Clark's unique ability to draw casual fans and create buzz around the sport. During Clark's rookie season, the WNBA experienced a viewership renaissance that would make even the most seasoned TV executives' jaws drop. Games averaged 657,000 viewers, the highest in 24 years. And get this, out of the 23 games that surpassed the coveted 1 million viewer mark, Clark played in a whopping 20 of them. Talk about carrying the team. Now, it's worth noting that the WNBA's overall viewership trend has been positive in recent years. Factors such as increased marketing efforts, improved broadcast deals, and growing interest in women's sports have all contributed to this upward trajectory. But the league's been around for nearly 30 years. That's a long time to build momentum. So, what does all this mean for Unrivaled, the new kid on the basketball block? Well, to put it bluntly, they're facing an uphill battle. Without Clark's star power to draw in casual fans and create buzz, Unrivaled is going to have to work overtime to capture even a fraction of the attention that Clark commands effortlessly. I mean, take a look at the Big Three, founded by rapper Ice Cube. Same type of thing. From day one, the Big Three faced an uphill battle. Skepticism was high, and many doubted whether a league of retired players could capture fans' attention. Sound familiar? Just like Unrivaled, they were trying to carve out a niche in a crowded sports landscape dominated by the NBA and other major leagues.
Listen, possessions are so important right now, and execution. Fee doing a nice job getting to the basket.
But here's where it gets interesting. Despite the initial challenges, the Big Three managed to pull off something remarkable. In its very first season, they were drawing crowds of over 10,000 fans per game. By the time their third season rolled around, they had expanded to 12 teams. That's some serious growth for a league that started from scratch. So how did they do it? The Big Three got creative with their marketing strategies. They leaned hard into the star power of their players, showcasing guys who were household names in the NBA. It was like basketball nostalgia meets modern entertainment. They also understood that to stand out, they needed to be different. The 3-on-3 format offered fans something they couldn't get anywhere else. Fast-paced, high-scoring games that felt more like a street ball showdown than a traditional basketball match.
Easy over-the-head pass to Al Harrington again.
The Big Three also scored partnerships with major networks like CBS and CBS Sports Network. Suddenly, they weren't just a niche league anymore. They were beaming into living rooms across the country, reaching fans who might never have given them a chance otherwise. For Unrivaled, there are some promising parallels here. Both leagues offer a unique take on basketball and are trying to capture attention in a crowded market. But Unrivaled is missing the Big Three's secret weapon: nostalgia. Those former NBA stars brought a built-in fan base. Unrivaled is banking on the appeal of current stars and up-and-comers. it's a different ballgame entirely. So, can Unrivaled follow in the Big Three's footsteps? It's possible, but they'll need to chart their own course. They could adapt the Big Three's strategy by focusing on creating a strong brand identity and innovative fan engagement. Most importantly, Unrivaled will need patience. The Big Three's success didn't happen overnight. It was a gradual build, a slow burn that eventually caught fire. Unrivaled will need to be prepared for a similar journey, constantly adapting and innovating along the way. Without established mainstream stars, the league lacks the immediate draw that brings in casual fans. It's hard to build a fan base around unknown players, no matter how exciting the format is. The 3-on-3 style also presents potential drawbacks. The lack of complex team strategies might turn off basketball purists who appreciate the chess-like nature of the traditional game. There's also a risk that the high-scoring affairs could become repetitive over time, potentially diminishing the excitement factor. Unrivaled isn't just competing against other basketball leagues, it's vying for attention in a crowded sports entertainment landscape. With events like the NFL playoffs and March Madness dominating the calendar, carving out a niche won't be easy. The Big Three League has shown there's an appetite for 3-on-3 basketball, but they benefit from featuring former NBA stars. Unrivaled is starting from scratch, which means they'll need to work harder to create compelling storylines and player narratives that keep fans invested. The Olympic debut of 3-on-3 basketball provides some insights. While viewership was solid, it didn't set records, suggesting that even with the Olympic spotlight, the format still needs star power to truly captivate audiences. Unrivaled's biggest challenge might be its ambitious timeline. They're racing to establish themselves before the novelty wears off. In the fast-paced world of sports entertainment, yesterday's innovation can quickly become today's old news. So, what's the verdict? Can Unrivaled succeed without Caitlin Clark? In the best-case scenario, they hang on this year, pray for Caitlin next season, and hype up Paige Beckers to continue their momentum. The league will claim its first season was a success either way. They'll never admit what could have been with Caitlin Clark. In the worst-case scenario, Unrivaled struggles to stand out without a transcendent star. Viewership remains low, and sponsors get nervous. This outcome could reinforce the notion that women's leagues can't thrive without marquee names, making it harder for future innovations in women's sports to gain traction. And honestly, I think the league has to succeed on its own for Caitlin to ever consider playing in it. While her decision was about rest, she's also cautious about her brand. A lackluster first season will not entice her to play. If she's playing, she's going to be an owner in the league. It's a business decision. But patience will be key. Building a sports league from scratch takes time, especially when competing against established giants.
Good two-player action, and Boston cashes in.
Unrivaled needs to focus on steady growth and not get discouraged if they don't see immediate results. By emphasizing their unique format, fostering player narratives, and consistently engaging with fans, Unrivaled can carve out its own space in the sports world. So let's see what happens. I'll be following along, wishing them well. It's good for the players. Now let's see if it's good enough for the fans.